Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Paper Soprano Podcast. I am your host, Heidi Schneider. This is episode 2, and I have decided recently that we're gonna do a Podmas special here. So if you don't know the acronym or the combination of two words that I'm trying to create, if you're familiar with Vlogmas, a lot of YouTubers, they do these things called vlogs. And in the month of December, it's very common for people to do Vlogmas. So they basically just record every day up until Christmas, and it's an excuse to record something every day and put out every day. So we're going to work it for podcasting here, and we're going to call it Podmas. So that's that. So we're just going to chat every day. We're going to have a little sit down, a little fireside chat. We're going to have a nice little time. Today was such an interesting day. I actually just got back from a little socially distanced hang with my very dear friend, e.v.e.r.y. She is such a vigilant individual, and we both made sure to be super COVID safe, and I actually stood outside because I was drinking a hot beverage, a Starbucks tea, but we chatted outside, and we were talking about socializing in general, because it is so bizarre to get together with friends who you would normally be, so comfortable with and so colloquial with, and it is so weird to think to yourself, am I getting bad at interacting with people because I'm not doing it enough? Like, am I out of practice for socializing? Is that a thing? And is that happening to me? Because I kid you not, I was talking to Catherine, like standing like 6 feet away from her, and like we were chatting and having a good time, and I was like so excited to have like friend interactions again, everybody's situation is different, and I actually do work, I work every day on campus at Stony Brook, but not to be like my coworkers are not my friends, but they're coworkers, so it can only go so far, really. But when you're with the people who in previous encounters you would have been having a really good old college fun time with, it's totally weird. And I do feel like my socializing skills have not depleted, but just changed a lot, because there's a lot of energy that I feel like, just excess energy in the interactions now, where I'm just excited and I'm exhilarated, and I also am just probably talking too loud and probably talking too much, and I don't know. I feel like I might be one of the only people who has that side of it, and also is happy to be alone. I cannot do that for super long amounts of time, super long periods, because I also will literally sometimes cry because I'm so happy that I have my apartment to come back to, and I can sit here and not have to talk to anybody, and it's beautiful and amazing, and somehow I have a lot of value in both of those extremes. Anybody else like that out there? Just me? Okay. No, I'm sure it's not just me, but so that was really fun today. And also, before I started recording this podcast, I was listening to Jacob Collier and Charlie Puth were on an Instagram live together, which is very exciting because they're both obviously extremely talented musicians who are very influential in the field right now, and they are trailblazers, trendsetters, all of the above, geniuses, super hard workers, like literally everything you could ever hope for, they embody. So that's really fun, and I was having a nice time just sitting there and listening to them talk about things. But yeah, guys, it's been a really interesting day so far. It is Friday. Today is December 4th. And let's see, what else happened to me today? I had a really intrusive thought about something very specific that I'm sure a lot of you do not come for me if you actually do this, but I'm sure you can relate. When you're driving down the road and it's about this time of year and people are like cleaning up their lawns and stuff, there's leaves everywhere, and you know, people are like cleaning up their yards, it makes me crazy to see on the sides of the road like 20 to 30 black trash bags full of leaves or like assorted organic material. Like, what? Like, why? It just doesn't make any sense. Why do you need to put it in bags? Or if you do need to put it in bags and you can't just like put it on the side of the road like in a pile, why can't you put it in paper bags? Like, don't they make those like specifically for leaves at Home Depot or something? Like, am I the only one who's seen those before? Like, do people just not know? But oh my god, it just grinds my gears to know that people are just putting just so much plastic into the world just to get rid of leaves that are already on the ground that are like, oh my god. But, you know, I digress. Also, do not come for me if you do that, but also maybe reconsider your life, because what the heck? That is a ridiculous thing. Or, you know, just have like a campfire or something, or like put it into a compost, or just leave it on the ground, because life is not, you know, about having perfect lawns all the time. Like, I get it if there's a ton. Again, do not come for me. You do what you want to do, evidently. But, like, man, I kid you not, I will literally see, like, oh god, like piles, mountains, Everests of black garbage bags full of leaves on the sides of the roads around this time of year. And it just doesn't make any sense, but, you know, whatever. We can't control people. So if they're gonna do that, whatever. Let's see, what else did we do today? I'm thinking about my day. Today has been one of those days where I kind of just don't really remember what I did today. It was kind of a weird, strangely quick day. Strangely quick in the sense that days have not really been quick for me as of late. I've been dealing with a lot of personal things, and the days have felt like weeks, and the weeks have felt like just ridiculous amounts of time, but yet somehow I'm still shocked that it's December. Like, I don't know. It's this dichotomy that I'm living in, where I'm just two opposite ends of the spectrum at the exact same time. Let's see. What was I talking about today? Who did I even interact with? Oh, I talked to somebody about wondering whether or not getting a degree during this time is even worth it because of the quality of the classes that we are experiencing. And I go back and forth about it because I do understand from a performance aspect of it. I get it. You know, it's like what can you do? You know, you're really trying to make it work with the technology, you're really trying to make it work with stuff, but this isn't sustainable. So if this were to continue, it wouldn't be very sustainable, and it would be very frustrating to have to, you know, continue on like this, because we're not prepared for this. It's like we're in like starvation mode as musicians and as just like collegiate individuals. I think a lot of other majors, if you're not a musician, I'm sure you can relate that, like, you know, this is not the ideal academic setting. And maybe you love online classes, but still, like, think about it. In the grand scheme of things, are you expecting to have an online job in which you don't have to work with anybody in person? Like, I feel like the things that we're working towards are not going to be completely online anyway. A lot of the fields that I'm thinking about right now, you know, are hands-on. A lot of majors and people that I know have hands-on activities that they need to do. And in the end, we're all people and we have to interact with other people. That's how the world works. So it's not very sustainable to think about it like this, but I don't necessarily think that means we shouldn't continue education in a way, because, you know, we're not learning what we expected to learn. We're not necessarily learning the things that we thought we needed to learn, but we're still learning something. And, you know, there's really no way to predict anything ever. We're just floating on a breeze here. Nothing is predictable. Even though you think it's predictable, nothing is predictable. So you might as well just take the things that are happening to you and acknowledge that they are just happening to you. Like, they're just happening around you, and you're just always going to be in that relationship with the universe. Even if you think you have control over things, you just don't. And I know that's not very comforting, but it's the reality of it. So, you know, this to me, like, having COVID as a part of my first semester of my doctorate is just that. It's just a part of my education now. Like, I was thrown into open water on so many levels, and that is going to be something that I look back on and say, yeah, that was like a class that I took, like sink or swim class. Like, and, you know, it wasn't the funnest class, and, you know, it wasn't super cute all the time. It was pretty bad, actually. It was a literal dumpster fire, but, like, we got through it, and we will get through it. I know I'm wishful thinking right now, but I do feel like there's an end in sight, even though we're now seeing a lot of spike in the cases, and, you know, things are, you know, the church that I still work for, I am their singer. I just got wind that, you know, we're going to be back online. We were at 2 smaller services, and now we're going to be combining into one so that we can just record it. No people, you know, in the church anymore. And, you know, I think that's the right move. There's a lot of cases right now. So, you know, we're just doing what we have to do. And yeah, but I digress. Getting a degree during this time, I don't think is wasteful at all. I think it's just, you know, if you were doing that before and you are doing that now, then that's what you're doing. And whatever you're doing right now, you are supposed to be doing it. You know, whatever you are committing your mental space to, then there's something that you have to learn there, and you're doing it. And then when you switch directions, you're supposed to do that too, you know, like, so yeah, you know, it's all just happening. And I think so much of it has been preached at us, and I speak really only for my own experience, but so much of my education from undergraduate and even into my master's and now in my doctorate, so much of this, like, oh, you'll find your path, you'll find your individual path, you'll find it, it'll, everybody carves their own path and everybody's journey looks different and blah, blah, blah. And I think people, like, acknowledge that and they say, oh my God, yeah, that, like, totally makes sense. Yeah, no problem. We love that. Super, comforting because it means we don't have to conform to anything, and super inspiring because it means we can do whatever we want. But I think a lot of people who are on the receiving end of that advice are not really taking that seriously. We just kind of take it as like some old adage that's been told to us by our esteemed professors. But like, for real, now is that time when so many people are really doing that. They are carving their own paths. They are going in their own directions. And it's scary because it's like, is this the right way? Should I be doing this? Should I start a podcast? Should I start, doing administration stuff? Should I go into the route of social media? Should I, start singing jazz? Or should I focus on Gregorian chant? Like, all of these paths that you can take, it is really so vast, and it is scary because some of them might not seem like the right thing, but they just are. Like, the one that you're gonna pick is gonna be the one that you always were supposed to pick. And if it doesn't work out, that was supposed to happen too, and you learn something from that. It sounds very much like I'm like preaching to people about this, but I really do. I personally find comfort in the fact that everything happens for a reason, because if I sit here and regret things over and over again, or if I sit here and wonder why people did certain things, or wonder why, certain things happen to me, I'm just going to be upset. I might as well try and put myself in the mindset of like, yeah, whatever, this was supposed to happen, and now I'm going to do this and this and this, and whatever the outcomes, that's what they're going to do. All I can do is just continue on my own path, and whatever that is going to be is what it is. So, and I think a lot of that comes from like exploring diversity in your field, whatever your field is. Like, if you're in medicine and you're really passionate about one specific branch of medicine, or you're a nurse and you're in geriatrics and you're really into that, who says you can't explore other fields? Who says you can't, go back to school or do something else or change your field? Or, obviously that's a huge change, and, whatever, everybody does their own thing, but there's really no rules. And in a way that's like super scary and also very comforting, because it's like, yeah, society says that we can't do certain things, and people pass judgments out of their own insecurities all the time, but you can do whatever you want, and that's just great, that's just amazing. So, oh my God. I was also searching today for things on Amazon, which is terrible. I've been trying so hard to buy from local places for like Christmas gifts and stuff, and I have been doing an okay job at doing that. But man, I am so like lost, if you have any specific, really like easy to navigate, not like a big old list of something or whatever, but like, where we're the people who are like designing websites that like are just a big compilation of a bunch of small businesses. And I know that's probably like the definition of Amazon in a way, but not like in a, you know, big hierarchy way. I don't know how it works, okay? But like, I wish there was a safe, reputable website that I knew wasn't going to be like a scam or whatever, that had like a bunch of small businesses listed, and like you could go through that, you know, whatever vendor, and they would connect you to these small businesses. Because it is kind of hard. Like, I feel like I really do have to know exactly what I'm looking for. And there's not a ton of like places that I would go. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right spots. If you have any suggestions on small businesses and how to support them and how to find them and good ways to go about buying people things from small businesses, I would really appreciate that, because I am a literal moron. So that's the moral of the story. I was also making today at work this morning. I was having my coffee, and you know, I was sitting there and I look over, and my student manager, the staff manager who works there, she printed out some little cutout snowflakes. Like, you know, you fold them up and you cut them out. And if I could prescribe anything to like the people of the world right now, it's just like, dude, you gotta do a craft. And like, not in like a weird like, oh my god, like a craft, yay, but like physically, because I sat there and I was like, oh my god, like a little snowflake thing, oh that's so cute, and I took one and I was like, yeah, I'll make one, whatever. And like physically folding something and like cutting it out and like opening it up and like, but doing it with my hands and not like not using technology to do it in like a really weird way. That's sad, but like for real, you know, it was like really cathartic to make that stupid little snowflake, and I had a great time doing it. I made like a bunch more, and just like, you know, being really specific with the scissors, and like this is the dumbest thing that I've ever said. But for real, it was so much fun and I had a great time doing it. Highly recommend if you're looking for something fun to do this weekend. Cut out a snowflake. That's my prescription for you. Looking for a good weekend? Make a snowflake. Oh my god. I can't believe it doesn't really feel like Friday, but I guess it is. Oh man. Yeah, so if you have any suggestions for me on some small business things, I am really wanting to improve. And yeah, I can't wait to get some people up in this pod. If you're interested in talking on this podcast with me, it could be about anything, clearly. So we could chat about absolutely anything. We could chat about, you know, imposter syndrome. We can chat about getting a degree. We can chat about, you know, anything at all. I was thinking about this today. I was like, you know, while I do feel like my podcast right now is kind of focused on music and whatever, I have no qualms. I have zero qualms about talking about whatever on this podcast. I find that I find joy in conversation, you know, and it doesn't have to necessarily be anything specific. We could talk about whatever. We could talk about you. I would love to talk about somebody else and, you know, get their insight on something or talk about their lives. So any of y'all people who are still listening, bless your hearts. And hit me up, girl. Like, let me know. Do you want to be on the pod? Like, I got a couple suggestions on how to put like how to put people like how to record two at once, really. So I got a couple suggestions on that, so we'll figure that out together. You'll have to bear with me because I am in fact an idiot, but we will do it. So yeah. Oh my god, one more thing I wanted to say before we sign off. This is going to be controversial, so I'm not even exactly sure if I want to say this right now, but I have a very love-hate relationship with coffee, and I'm wondering if anybody else feels the same way. And when I say love-hate, I mean really like I just kind of don't like it, but I wish I did. And before you start questioning, let me explain. It's basically like I love the idea of coffee. I love the smell of coffee. Occasionally I'll like the taste of coffee, but like I would say 96.75% of the time I do not, with a capital N, do not like coffee. It dries me out. I feel like dry after. I don't feel like I get any sort of like caffeine benefits. I just get like cracked, dry lips. I get like a stomach ache and a headache. And it's not like I'm like crashing from the caffeine or anything. It's literally just like, it just makes me feel like I'm ill. Like, am I the only, like, does anybody else experience this? And specifically, oh my god, specifically if I have Dunkin' Donuts coffee, forget it. Forget it. Dunkin' Donuts coffee, like, gives me an immediate migraine. And I always am like, oh, it's so much cheaper than, like, Starbucks or whatever, and it's better than, like, going to a bagel place or something and getting, like a crappy cup of coffee. But oh my god, it is just terrible. And like, if you love Dunkin', girl, I don't even like coffee, so don't come for me, like, I am not shaming you. I go there all the time and it's so bad. And like I go there and I'm like, oh my god, maybe I'll like it this time. Like, but I just don't. And I don't like drinking coffee unless it's super hot. Like, unless it's very, very, very hot. I feel like it tastes like garbage. The colder it gets, the more it tastes like a dissolved ashtray that somebody just dumped into like lukewarm bath water. And that's what the coffee tastes like after a while. And I'm like, oh god, it's just horrendous. Espresso is a little bit nicer, usually because it's like fresher and usually because there's less of it and I don't have to drink as much of it. But yeah, man, it's a love-hate battle, and by love-hate I mean just hate. Oh, it's a problem. It's such a problem. But, like, why do I want to like it so bad? I just love the idea of it. I think that if it worked for me, I would be, like, a superhero. You know what I mean? I would be killing it. And I do love tea. Don't get me wrong. Tea is amazing. But there's just something about tea. Or maybe I just haven't found the right tea yet. I really do love Earl Grey. Earl Grey all day, dude. Like, it is the best. And some herbal teas, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, I like peppermint tea and I like certain things, but ooh, girl. Yeah, tea is just not the same as coffee because it doesn't make me feel like trash. And maybe that's what I'm looking for. I just want to feel like garbage. Like, I just need that in my life for some reason. But let me know if you have any diagnoses for me, because I really do feel like I'm struggling with this. And I don't need to be spending money on coffee. I don't even like it. I literally do not like it. So, oh man. Anyway, I am going to continue my Friday night here. Hopefully get some work done on my paper, of which I have yet a lot to cover. and we're gonna make it through, you guys. Be sure to let me know if you make a snowflake this weekend, if you print one out and cut it out, or if you just do a little improv and make a craft. And yeah, be sure to like this video if you like the pod, and let me know if you want to have a chat and be a guest on the pod, because I am more than happy to have a conversation with people. And yeah, give this video a like and share it if you like it and you want to support it. I think that's really fun and I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to do Podmas for you guys and have a little chat every day, like a little podcaster. This is so much fun and I'm having such a great time. Yes. All right, you guys. So this has been episode 2 of The Paper Soprano, and I am Heidi Schneider. It has been a joy to chat with you on this lovely Friday evening, or whenever you're listening to this. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you decide to listen. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!